That's great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for all your patience. We actually had a really high volume of attendees, which is super. So we had to adjust, our hosting of the webinar. So yeah, I'll just continue on. I'm glad to hear everyone was able to hear me so far. So we're just talking about using mobile to win more listings. So that's what we're going to cover as well, and some strategies on doing that. We know it's working really, really well for a number of agents, and we just want to share what they're doing and what their experiences have been with that. And then also using mobile to attract buyers. That's also the other side of the coin, right? You want to win listings, but you also want to attract new buyers out there. And, using the technology that buyers are using right now in mobile, and finding ways to tap into that to get information to them quickly. And then branding, branding yourself using mobile as well. We're seeing more agents doing that also. So we'll share some secrets and tips on how to do that with your business as well. And now I'll just introduce Stephen Whiting, who's going to be the presenter for you. Stephen is co-founder of StreetText Real Estate Marketing, and he helped grow StreetText into over 60 cities across the country in Canada. He also co-founded the Open House Network, which is a network of over 52 cities across Canada, for example, like Open House Vancouver and Open House Ottawa and various parts in between. And he's had 9 years of real estate marketing experience, so he brings a lot to the table as far as technology and being in that space, being a realtor himself in the past and using all the technology tools that he's learned along the way, and he loves to share. So feel free to connect with Stephen on LinkedIn as well after the webinar if you haven't already done so. So now, Stephen, I'll leave the table up to you now, and look forward to hearing you.
Thanks, Art. Appreciate all that introduction. So I'm just going to begin. Just want to let you guys know of a couple things as we get started. I'm going to be moving fairly quickly through this presentation. It's focused on text and QR codes. So if you do have any questions or you do want me to stop along the way, just let me know. It may take me a minute to sometimes just notice the questions, but I'm more than happy to answer all of them. And I just want to respect the time. We're obviously starting a little bit late already, but I just want to make sure that we honor the time that we set forward. So make sure that I finish in time, and then for those of you that need to go, that's fine. For those of you that would like to stay on longer and learn a little bit more, we'll continue. We'll stay as long as it takes just to make sure that we answer all your questions. So our primary business is in the text and QR code space. So I'm definitely going to be adding a lot of our business to this meeting. However, it's still going to be focused on the technology itself. And I just also wanted to let you know that we're going to be running a series of webinars in the next little while. Some of them will be relating to what we do. Some of them will be on other technologies such as Facebook, LinkedIn, free tools that will help grow your business, and a lot of what we call GTD tools, or getting things done, using tools such as Evernote. There's a number of tools out there that we use every day that save hours upon hours every day. We'd love to share those with you as well. So stay focused for our upcoming webinars and as we move through. So mobile is what I'm focusing on, and it's literally like a freight train. If you guys think the internet grew fast, mobile grew much, much faster. I mean, how is it possible that there's 6.8 billion people on the planet and there's 5.2 billion mobile phones? I mean, that is just a staggering number. What does that all mean? Well, basically, literally everybody has a phone today. So I'm going to walk you through some Canadian stats, specifically on texting first. When it comes to texting, Canadians send presently over 224 million texts per day. So if every single Canadian, grandparent, children combined, were texting, that'd be 7.5 per day each. It's just a staggering number. And what we find actually really interesting is that 25 million Canadians do have wireless phones. And collectively, from a world perspective, from a global perspective, Canadians actually is the second largest country for smartphone usage as well, in terms of population to adoption of smartphones. So these are definitely staggering numbers. And each text is essentially a communication or a connection. And people use it, and they like to text because it's easy. Some of you might be saying, well, yeah, but phones are for calling. And I completely understand that, and that's exactly what they were designed for up until the smartphone came along. So smartphones have changed everything. I imagine many of you here today have smartphones as well. But for those of you who don't, smartphones just add an extra layer of interest to a phone. So now instead of just being able to make phone calls, you can check the weather, you could browse the internet. You can check your email on the phones. I mean, you all know this for the most part. So, but what's interesting is that regarding smartphone usage, 74%, so this is a collective sort of group of people, and the majority of people use their phone for, in this sort of order, texting first. And the reason being is it comes native on every single phone, so every phone has it. So even on a smartphone usage, texting is actually number one. It's easier and quicker than any other application, and it's a very simple language to work with. Emailing is the next big thing. That makes sense. The rise of BlackBerry and all the other smartphone providers. Social has really taken off, and that almost matches emailing, but it's ahead of phone calls. So as you can see here, phone calls is actually fourth down the list, and it's equal to search. So people are picking up the phone as much as they're using the internet on their smartphones to begin searching. So that would tie into more of the QR code side of things. But what's really, really interesting we found is that this is a trend taking place, and it's that people are making less and less phone calls, and they actually don't enjoy making phone calls. Now, some of you might argue with this, but let's, think of a couple things. One is that when caller ID came out, people began to screen calls. And the reason they did that, for the majority is that they want to maybe know what the conversation is about before they respond. And then voicemails became converted to text. So people didn't even want to phone in to get their voicemails anymore. They'd rather have their voicemail sent to text, or in my case, digitally, so I can just listen to it without having to dial in. And overall, statistically wise, less and less voicemails are being sent, and more people, even if they want to send a voicemail, are finding now that they text instead of leaving a voicemail. So this is all very, very interesting. Now, nothing replaces a phone call. A phone call is still the number one way to communicate, but it's just a very interesting statistic and a trend that's taking place. And the reason we wanted to show all of this to you today is that there's an opportunity here for real estate agents to take advantage of this. The other thing about text messages is that they arrive almost instantly, and they have almost 100%. They rank it at a 99.8% read rate, and they're considered less intrusive. So they're a softer way of starting a conversation than something else might have been, like a phone call might have been a little bit more intrusive in the past. So I'll walk you through and show you, compare the two technologies. Now, I don't want to make it seem like I'm bumping up text and really pushing down QR codes, because we actually do both. We offer both the technologies, and we've offered them right from the beginning. But there are some very big differences that I just wanted to kind of outline to you today. The QR code has been what we would consider fairly trendy, but it's a very easy to use barcode scanner. So in the past, everybody would use barcodes on products and food items and whatnot. And this is just basically, we started in Japan, and it was changed into an application that could then be used for anything. So a QR code can link to a website, it can link to a business card, it can link to a variety of different applications. It can link right to your Facebook page, wherever you would like that QR code to go. And it's typically added on print or on the side of some marketing, billboards, etc. Now, however, for a QR code to work, you do need an app. So it requires an application that's built into a smartphone. So you might have an iPhone or an Android phone or a BlackBerry. But to use a QR code, it's not as simple as just taking a picture. You need an application that can read that. In regards to texting, there is no app required. So the reason we like texting is that Canada has a very high smartphone adoption rate. As I said before, second highest in Canada. But that still means that you're only looking at 50% of the population that has smartphones. So what happens to the other 50% that don't have a smartphone and they don't have an application built into their phone? Texting will still work on all of those phones, whereas QR code at this particular point won't. The other thing with the QR code is that they do need the internet to work. So in other words, when you run an application, you have to have a data plan. So even if you have a smartphone, you do need a data plan to use a QR code because it's accessing the internet to pull the information. The texting does both. So how it works is that if you don't have a smartphone, you would still receive all the basic information, in this case about a property. So, and I'll tie that in just more in a moment. But if somebody was to text, like in the example you see above, text John 01 to 33344, if they were to do that, they would still receive the price of the property that was advertised, the bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, a description on the property, the realtor's phone number. So they get all of the information that they're most interested in the moment that they text. Whereas if they have now a smartphone or an internet phone that's attached to that text message, they can then click a link that would then show them all the photos. So what it essentially does is it just bridges the gap between what the QR code directs them to, which is the photos and the full description, and the text message has what we consider a two-step, but a bridge step. So it's an easy way to get the information that you might be most interested in, and then if you want to go further and see all the photos, you can do that easily just off of the text message. The QR codes work great in print. You see them on a lot of business cards today, on a lot of packaging and material. And the reason being is that they're not area specific, so they work globally. As long as you have the app and you have an internet connection, you can then scan that QR code wherever it is. So for somebody that's doing business all over the world, a QR code is a phenomenal way to have people interact easily with their product. With texting, it's more localized, so it's country specific. Each short code, example at 33344, is specific to a specific country. So in this case, this is a Canadian number. In the US is a different number, and so forth. So that's one of the big differences between the QR codes and the texting. However, the texting works great on print and on billboards and also radio. And the reason being is that if you can just sort of imagine if you're passing by a billboard in just that quick moment and it's far away, you're not going to necessarily bring your phone out, try to load the app, and then stop the car and take a picture. Whereas if it's a text code and you're quite a long ways away, you can see it and you realize exactly what you need to do on your phone. And of course, in radio, it's a great way if you're running a promotion or maybe a property. Some realtors do a lot of radio ads, and in this case, you'd be able to brand yourself specifically and let people know. You could run a promotion, and you could use text associated with that. So you can get an engagement rate with text where you couldn't do with QR codes over some different mediums. And that ties into the next one. You do need to be close with a QR code. You need to be static, so you can't be moving it. It needs to be something that you can pull your phone out, use the application to take a photo. So you could, if it's a very, very big QR code, you can access it from a distance, which some advertisers do. But you do need to be, you have the ability to stop and actually take that picture and then go from there. Whereas any distance works with a text code. As long as you can read it, you can use it. Now here's the other real big difference that some people don't know about. The QR code runs on web analytics only. So in other words, when somebody uses a QR code, we're able to let you know what property they look at. We're able to let you know what device they're using, how long they were looking at the property. So there is good data there, but it's very similar to what you'd consider Google Analytics to do, is what we can track with the QR code. One of the things that we can do with the text code is we can actually track the phone numbers as well. And so this is hooked up through CWTA. So whenever somebody responds or makes an inquiry about your property, the phone number is associated, and you have up to 18 months now to make contact with them directly using their phone number. This is a pretty powerful tool because what this means is now, rather than just knowing web analytics data, you actually have the ability to have direct access to the lead instantly on their phone. And there's proximity associated. In other words, when somebody texts your property and they get information about it and they go back home, you're now able to communicate directly back with them wherever they are because they're going to probably have their phone with them. What we encourage, so out of the people that use our technology, many of them phone, many of them text back. But because they texted in, we recommend texting back because it's an easy way to now communicate back with somebody that requested the information through text because you can now ask, did you have any more questions about the property? Is this in your price range? I'm going to be in the area next week. Mind if I set up an appointment for you? So it's a very easy and soft way to now start to work with that lead to turn it into a client. And lastly, the difference between QR codes in terms of memorable. So if you see a QR code and you didn't have a photo of it, you'll never be able to decipher that code from another code. So in other words, if you don't use it instantly in that moment, you won't be able to do anything with it. Whereas with the text code, you might be driving by very quickly on a road on your way to work. You'll see a property on the side of the road, and it's advertising, text John 1 for information on the property. And you think, oh, great, I'll do that when I get to the office. And you can do that because it's memorable. And it's also brandable, which means that you can, rather than just having text 01 or text 1 or text 799, you can actually brand it specifically around your business. So there's adding another advertising piece as well. Just going to move on here and show you a little bit about how the leads are actually captured. So this is an example of a backend for what you as the client would see if you were logged into StreetText. What you can see here is on the Buyers tab, if people use the text code, you can actually see directly which code was texted, which property address was texted, the date and time that the information came in, and of course the phone number, where it came from. So these are powerful statistics that you can now pass on to your seller. You can now, because a lot of sellers will sometimes say, I believe maybe that you should be advertising in another province or somewhere else. But you can begin to show them that a lot of the leads are being generated right from locally. And that's overall proven again and again, is that the majority of sales still take place locally. And a for sale sign is your most powerful form of letting a local audience let you know that a property is for sale. So this is a great tool to collect these statistics, pass them on to the seller, show them the leads that are coming in. Now, a number of people also use take one boxes and info take boxes. You never know who's taking those. They're always empty. The seller's always reminding you that they're empty. So this is, again, another great tool. You can actually track, who's taking the information, and you can follow up with them. So I'm going to show you some of the advantages that a seller finds. One of the big things is I'm sure you've been in a listing presentation, and a seller might say to you, what are you going to do differently than another realtor? Well, now what you have is this powerful technology that you can show them. You can literally let them know that at all time, 24/7, anybody driving by, walking by, passing by is able to text for instant information. You now know who's looking at that information. And your sign actually stands out from other sales signs for sale signs as well. And tying into that feature sheet, how many times, if you've ever used them in the past, has sellers phoned you and let you know they're empty, can you please come up and fill them up? Whenever there's a price change, you now need to drive out there and make the adjustment. With this technology, you don't need to do any of that. You just can sit at home, make a quick adjustment on the computer, and instantaneously it updates on your StreetText, so it updates the property automatically. So anybody that's getting the information has now the new price, plus you're tracking all those details. And the best part is it's all automatically created. So one of the things that I know a lot of people have suffered with in the past is, I like this technology, I like QR codes, I like text codes, but how am I actually going to connect them to my properties? How am I going to connect them to my listings and make it work so it's easy, something easy to work with? Well, the way that we built the system is it's a simple one-page form that you fill out. It's very easy, and that automatically creates the mobile website as well as the text information. So you don't have to do anything. And then the other part is that the signs, a lot of realtors have said, well, if I use a QR code, I have to print the sign. I can only use it for that one property, but then once that property sells, I have to go make another sign. And that's not the case with what we developed. All the signs are unique. So in other words, if you had 3 properties and you had branded yourself as John, you would have John 1, John 2, John 3. So they're all unique to the specific properties. But what happens is on your backend or in your login, you're now able to assign your properties to those specific signs easily. So with one click, so you can reuse the signs over and over and over again. And because it's all automatically created, it's very easy to work with. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how it works on the buyer side. We all know, and I'm sure that you agree, that the most important thing to realtors is referrals and leads. Referrals are obviously the best. Once you have a referral, you get continuing business, and that's what every real estate business is about. The next part is generating leads. I mean, before you can have referrals, you need to have leads. Then you can turn into clients, which you then can turn into satisfied clients, which turn into referrals for you. And our system is really designed around helping you generate those leads. And essentially, how it works is as people text for the information, they receive the details instantly. And this is solving actually a pretty big buyer pain out in the marketplace. And the reason being is that often when they see the information, they want to know what the price is quickly. They want to know just a quick detail. Does it even have the amount of bedrooms that my family is looking for? And they want to know that in a moment. And in the past, they'd often have to phone in. They sometimes would get the office, or they'd have to leave a message, or they have to page the realtor. And what this does is it allows you to streamline your business. Somebody's able to now text for the information instantly. You know exactly who it is. You're able to follow up. They get the information specifically that they're looking for. Plus, it's in a beautiful format, easy for them to go through. They can look at all the details of the property, either through the QR code or through the text. And it's done automatically for you. So it's a very easy system to work with. So this is a great way of generating leads. Now, some of you might be saying, well, how many leads does a system like this generate? We're across 60 cities in Canada, and we average, on average, for each listing between 2 to 3 texts per month per property. So if you have 5 properties, that would be anywhere between an additional 10 to 15 leads per month. So it's a pretty powerful tool, and it's only growing. As this trend is improving and more people are using text and QR codes to gather information, you're able to generate more and more leads. So you get an early start on capturing people in a completely new way. And I don't know how much each lead is worth to you, but on average in Canada, a typical buyer is worth about $6,500 in commission. So if you're able to even capture an additional 1 buyer per month, that's a pretty powerful tool to be working with. Now here's one of the other powerful things about either texting or the QR codes, but specifically in the texting, is the branding. QR codes allow you to do a certain amount of branding. You can sometimes add a little bit of color or a little bit of an image to your QR code, which can create a bit of branding, but the text is specific. Imagine if you could have, or you could let people know, they could just text your name and instantaneously they receive all of the details on your properties as well as the photos. And it's a pretty powerful thing, and all your advertising people are now able to text the information instantly. And the reason this is so powerful is that whenever somebody texts your information, they're actually connected to all your properties. So if they get one property, they get them all, plus they get your buyer, and they're all connected instantly to your website. So it's a very powerful tool for capturing leads, showcasing your properties, and again, really impressing your sellers. Now, the way this works is it's similar to a domain name. So once your name is taken and it's held by one person, that's essentially it. It's held by one person. So you definitely want to take advantage of specific branding as soon as you can. But it's something that you should be looking at. As you're all looking at growing your business, just as domain names became very, very important, you realize that you want to own specific brand names that are domain names that are very specific to yourself or to your area. It's the same with the text words. You want to make sure that you have a keyword or something that works that's brandable, that works for you. Most of our agents typically use their name or something associated with the name because it's easy to remember, it's easy to build a brand, and it's a very easy way for people then to connect directly to your brand and to all of the property that you offer. Now, this was a very, very fast introduction, as I said, sort of as we move through. But the reason I wanted to move quick is I just wanted to make sure that we're on time. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have. Also, we are giving away a free gift for those of you that are interested. It's a marketing plan that will help you demonstrate either this technology or the mobile technology to your sellers. So in doing so, if you're interested in this, you're able just to quickly respond to either Steven at StreetText or support@streettext.com. Just request a marketing plan, and you just need to attach a picture and your office details, and we'll then customize a marketing plan for you that then you can use in your listing presentations, just as a thank you for being a part of this presentation. So I'm just going to open it up now. Essentially, the text and QR code portion of this webinar is now over, so thank you so much for all being with us today. But I am opening it up to questions. So if you have any other questions or anything that you'd like to ask, this is a perfect opportunity to ask. And I'm also going to bring Art back on to help manage any of those as well. Thank you so much. So somebody's just asking a question, how much do the signs cost? Well, you can either use our signs. They're completely reusable. That is they're either $15 a month, or sorry, not a month, $15 one-time cost if you want just a standard code. If you want a brandable code, there's $17 one-time fee, or you can make your own. So some of the realtors also make their own signs. They want to work with their specific sign company, and that's fine. If you want to make 2 signs, then you would just pay to purchase the brandable codes with each sign, which is $5 one-time fee. But once you own that code, it's yours to use for as many times as you like, and you can rotate it through as many properties as you like. So you're just asking, somebody's asking about the free gift. To claim the free gift, the listing presentation, all you need to do is just email us. The reason being is we just need your picture and your office details. So the email that you want us to include, the office that you're associated with, the phone number you want us to put on the listing presentation. So if you can just email us that information to either Steven, STEPHEN at StreetText.com or support at StreetText.com. If you email any one of those 2 emails, we'll collect the information, we'll put your details in it, and we'll send this free gift back to you. So it's a great listing presentation. Really helps show the mobile side and win more listings. Perfect. Any other questions? Oh, somebody's just asking how they learn more about StreetText. Let me just quickly show you here. One moment. I'm just going to close off this document. Sorry, it's just going to exit the full screen here. So on StreetText, if you visited StreetText.com, here you're able to learn more about the product itself. And if you wanted to sign up, you'd basically click on real estate. It's showing $19.95 a month, but actually if you sign up for 6 months, you'll receive it for $14.95 a month. So there's no contract, which means that if you had to cancel during the way it wasn't working for you or something along those lines, it's not a problem. You can always cancel. So we don't believe in contracts. We think if the technology is working for you, you're going to continue to use it. But it's either $19.95 a month or $14.95 if you sign up for 6 months. And by clicking on the sign up button right here, you'll now just easily just enter your email, quickly create a password. So if I was doing a demo one here, I'll just quickly show you. So I'll just create a quick password, create the account. It's a very simple process. From here, you get to pick your signs. So if you're looking at our signs, they'd be either the standard ones. When I say standard, it's meaning that you'd have a standard unbrandable keyword to text. They're still incredibly effective. There's absolutely nothing wrong with those. It's just that the brandable ones, the $17, those ones then tie around your specific name. And so what you do is if you want the brandable keywords, you would then select the brandable keyword. You pick how many you'd be looking for. Let's say you were looking for 5 signs. You'd put in 5 signs. If you wanted to make your own, you'd put it in here instead. You just want 5 codes. Once it's all said and done and you've purchased it, that's where we pick your keyword for you. So we'll go through your keywords. We'll give you a personal phone call back, and we'll go through all the options that we have available to you and make sure we get a keyword that works for you. Clips so our signs, they're designed to be attached either to the top of the signs or to the bottom. You can hang them. In other words, you can put grommets in them, hang them below. But we have these handy H clips that work really well. So if you're using metal signs or you want to attach these to one of your other sign writers, a very easy way to do it is using these clips. And they come with a couple screws as well. So they're a very easy clip to add to any of your signs. And 2 of them are attached for $1 each. So let's say you had 5 signs, you'd be looking at adding another 5 if you wanted the clips with your signs as well. For shipping, I'll take you through to that next step. So this is where you would either pick $19 a month, or for 6 months, you get a 25% savings. You can get it for $14.95. If you want to pay a whole year in advance, you get it for $14. So let's just say I picked monthly, and I went to the next step, and I had 5 signs at $17. This is where you would then add your shipping information. Just hit next. If it's the same as your billing information, it's just a very quick process. The shipping is a flat rate of either $15 if you have under 10 signs or $20 if you have anything more than 10 signs. So for people that are looking at ordering 20, 30, 40, 50 signs, it's exactly the same shipping rate. It's only the $20. If you're looking at ordering other, it's just under 10, it's a flat rate of $15. I hope that answers all your questions. See if there's any more questions. Do you feel that QR codes are fading in terms of popularity? Interesting question. Google has actually denounced the use of QR codes. They are now moving to near-field communication. So as what you see in credit cards more and more now, where you'll use a credit card to buy things at a store or QuickPass. And the reason being is it's exactly the same as text. Google wants more information. They want to use a technology that can interact back and forth. And a QR code doesn't allow you to do that. It's a one-way form of communication. It's a static, so once it's assigned to a specific URL, it's unchangeable. You can make small modifications in terms of where that link is directed, but you cannot all of a sudden change that to something completely different. So in the case of Google, they want to use a lot of e-commerce. They want one specific place where business would be able to provide a lot of information that's interesting and is changeable. So people might want to pay $10 for an item or $15 for an item, and all of that varies based on what they call the near-field technology. So that'll be coming out in the future. It's about 5 years out, and that'll definitely be replacing the QR codes. And they're a little bit of a fad for sure. They're an interesting way to get connected between the physical world and the internet world, but they're quite limited in what they can do. So I hope that answers your question. So is there any other questions? Okay, perfect. If you wanted to view some testimonials, you're able to view them here. You can learn a little bit more, see where we are on the map, and learn a little bit more about StreetText and how it's helping other realtors. And I'll also be sending, we're going to be sending a quick survey at the end of this as well, just asking quickly how you found the presentation and also what you'd like to learn about in the future. Because we're dedicated to helping you guys learn more about the products as we move forward. Somebody's asking where we're located. So we're actually located on the west coast of Canada, but we have service, we offer support all across the day. So we offer phone support from Pacific Standard Time of 8:30 all the way to 6. And then we have email support basically 24/7, but after 6 p.m. on Pacific time, you have up to the next morning response time, but we typically get back to you pretty quickly. Great. Well, if that's the end of the questions, does anybody else have anything else they'd like to ask? Review the chat to see if there's anything here. Great. Well, this concludes our webinar. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And we'll definitely be sending you a survey as well as updates for future webinars. Thank you so much.